Can you please, like, not be on the other side of the room? I can't believe I have to carry you all the way across to my bed to take a thumbnail and hold all of these. Oh my goodness. Hey, what's up? Hello, my name is Emma, and today I am giving you guys my February book haul. So I have 20 books in this February book haul. I don't know how it happened. I think it's because I got sent so many books this month. I do have quite a few arcs, so I'll be talking about some books that come out later in the year. I'm really just trying very hard to stall because I'm just getting so much anxiety thinking about the fact that I have to talk about so many books. But of course, I'm extremely grateful for all of them. I've actually read quite a few of these, but I'm gonna try and go through them very quickly because I'm terrified. There's so many books in this haul, guys. The first book is When Dimple Met Rashid by Sandhya Menon. This was sent to me by Simon Pohl, so thank you so much, Simon & Schuster, for sending me this awesome book, as well as some treats that came with it, and they were very delicious. When Dimple Met Rashid follows two Indian American main characters, Dimple and Rashid. These two individuals have been suggested to have an arranged marriage in the future, and they end up at the same summer program, and they kind of butt heads at first, but it's like the cutest, most adorable summer contemporary you could ever ask for. I read it this month. I'm so disappointed that I have to wait until May for all of you guys to read it because it does come out May 30th, but I will leave a spoiler-free review on Goodreads to this book if you are interested in finding out more about it, but I really, really loved this book. I'll talk more about it in my wrap-up, but it was a fantastic read. I'm very thankful I got to read it early, and I hope you guys end up picking it up. In February, I actually became a Book of the Month Club rep, so of course, thank you so much, Book of the Month Club, for making me one of your Instagram ambassadors. So every month, you guys will see me posting from 3 of the 5 or 6 options that Book of the Month Club gives you for you to choose for your subscription. So I have my 3 for February here. The first is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinsborough. This is a book that is essentially about a middle-aged woman who's kind of like a slump in her life. What happens is she goes out one night, she has like this amazing night with this stranger, and the next day she starts a new job, and the man that she spent the night with happens to be her new boss. She also ends up developing a friendship with a woman who turns out to be his boss's wife, and she notices that there are some things that are off in their relationship, and it's kind of like a mystery thriller, the kind of adult books I'm getting more into lately. So I thought this one would be a good pick for myself as a reader. My sister's also super into psychological thrillers like I am, so I have suggested this one to her as well, so maybe we'll both enjoy it. The next book is The Possessions by Sarah Flannery Murphy. The Possessions follows a woman named Edie who is a medium. Basically, people come to her with possessions of their late loved ones, and she does the whole, like, you know, talking through spirits thing. She's been very successful up until the point where she meets a man named Patrick whose wife has recently passed away, so Patrick starts coming to Edie to speak with his wife named Sylvia. She's been very successful up until this point. A man named Patrick comes to her about his recently deceased wife, and Edie kind of becomes obsessed with Patrick, and he starts, you know, getting involved in their relationship that he had with his previous wife, and it sounds really, really creepy. Again, it sounds like a really awesome mystery thriller. I'm really interested in the concept of ghosts and spirits and whatnot, so it seems like it'll be a very interesting read for myself. And the final book that I'm probably the most excited about from the February Book of the Month Club choices is The Animators by Kayla Ray Whittaker. Isn't this cover just the dang coolest thing you've ever seen? So this is essentially about 2 girls named Mel and Sharon who enter the world of animation in college, and they end up becoming best friends. 10 years later, they have a very successful first film coming out, but through the process of their film releasing, a lot of drama comes, there's a lot of stress, there's kind of a divide between their relationship, and some things from the past come up. So it sounds really, really interesting. I don't know much about animation, and I guess I would consider this book a contemporary. It just sounds like a very compelling novel about friendship and creativity and ambition and what you'll do to get it. So I'm excited to read this one as well. So the first book that I bought in the month of February is History's All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. This is the UK paperback edition. As soon as I saw the cover online when Adam posted it, I was like, I needed to add in a pre-order. Can we just appreciate the blue foil on here? Look at this. This is beautiful. I wasn't even expecting this. If you don't know what History's All You Left Me is about, you probably don't watch my channel. It follows Griffin, who has recently lost the love of his life named Theo, and in this process of like the funeral preparements and in Griffin's grieving, Theo's most recent boyfriend named Jackson comes into the picture, and they develop this unlikely relationship because they are the only 2 people who understand what it's like to lose Theo, as they were both in love with him, and it's told in the past from Griffin and Theo's love story and how it developed, and then it meets up in the present where Griffin and Jackson are kind of grieving together. It's a fabulous book. I have a really long spoilery review if you want to get in and discuss all of the amazingness of this book, so I'll leave that below, but History's All You Left Me, definite to read for you guys. The next book on my February haul was actually sent to me by FSG at Macmillan, so of course thank you so much Macmillan for sending me a copy of Sad Perfect by Stephanie Elliott. I've decided that I'm not going to be outright showing you guys the dust jacket anymore for this book, as it can be triggering to people who have suffered from self-harm, so you'll just get the screen cover from now on. I've talked about Sad Perfect a lot recently, so I don't know how much I'm going to go into it in the haul. I do have a full spoiler-free review of Sad Perfect if you want to check it out in the description, but just as a fair warning, for the first minute and 30 seconds you do see the cover, and I hold it up again at the very end. But Sad Perfect follows 16-year-old Pia, who suffers from ARFID, meaning avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, which is a very serious eating disorder that doesn't get a lot of rep in books. Essentially, Pia falls in love with this boy named Ben very, very fast and very, very quickly, and she feels so good around him that she feels like she can stop taking her depression and anxiety medication, which is a very, very bad thing. And so we see all of the repercussions of Pia neglecting her mental health in the name of love. I personally loved this book. I was really able to relate to it. If you want to check out more of my thoughts, I definitely recommend that spoiler-free review. And of course, as representation is not concrete and people are going to interpret books with sensitive topics very differently, there was somebody who was very harmed by the representation in this book. I will leave that review in the description of this video, as I have been doing every time I talk about Sad Perfect. I think it's important that you guys have the opportunity to see both sides of a book rather than just listening to my opinion if you watch my channel. So that's in the description if you want to check it out. The next book I read in the month of February is Our Own Private Universe by Robin Talley. This is another book that I read this month. As you can see, as a common theme, I've read a lot of books that I got in February. This was sent to me by Harlequin Teen for a review, so thank you so much, Harlequin, for sending me this awesome book. I do have a review of this filmed, and it will be up very, very soon. It's gonna be spoiler free, so we can discuss it without you having to read the book, but essentially this book follows 15-year-old Akai. Akai is bisexual, and this book is really about the journey of her discovering her sexuality and kind of experimenting with that in a physical manifestation with a girl she meets on her youth group's missions trip to Mexico. I personally loved this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I need to stop talking about the things that I've read about these books in this haul because it's just taking up time. I talk about it in the review and I talk about it in the wrap-up. I do have a spoiler-free Goodreads review up for this, so I will link that below if you want to find out more of my thoughts. But I really enjoyed Our Own Private Universe. I think, although I don't have any claim to LGBTQIA+ rep, I think it's one to consider because it's really important and it focuses on the questioning of one's sexuality. It's a huge theme throughout the book and I really enjoyed reading it. Alrighty, so the next 4 books on this list were all sent to me by HMH Teen from Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. So of course, thank you so much HMH Teen for sending me these 4 awesome new spring releases. The reason I have these books is because later in the year around the summer, I'm going to be working with HMH Teen for their Summer of Love campaign. So I will be delivering 4 spoiler-free reviews for each of these books individually, and I'm really excited to read all of them, so I hope you enjoy that in a few months. The first book is Definitions of Indefinable Things by Whitney Taylor. This is a mental health novel, which are always my fave. It follows our main character, Reggie, who suffers from depression. I feel like I can't gauge too much from the synopsis, but essentially, Reggie's on medication. She goes into CVS to get a refill, and she meets a boy named Snake, who is also getting a refill of his depression medication. So the two of them grow very close, but Reggie finds out that Snake's ex-girlfriend is pregnant with his child. I feel like this is going to be a really humorous mental health novel, which I would love to see because all the ones I read are like so depressing and sad and make you have all the feels. So this definitely sounds like a unique take on depression literature. I'm really excited to read it and I just hope it fulfills all my expectations. The next book is But Then I Came Back by Estelle Laurie. So all I can really tell about this book is it follows a teenager named Eden who has recently woken up from a coma after being in a near fatal accident. It's essentially about her readjusting to her life with her family and friends after this lost time with them, after being unable to connect with them. It sounds very emotional. I feel like there's not a ton of stories like this. The only thing it sounds familiar to is like If I Stay, but it's about the after waking up part. So I think that's really interesting and it's a book I am super anticipating reading. The next book is How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake. So this book follows Grace, who comes from a very unique childhood experience. She has something something with her mother that I'm not entirely clear of from the synopsis, but during one summer she meets a girl named Eva, and as it turns out, Eva likes girls. So this is an LGBTQIA+ novel. I don't know exactly what sexualities are going to be represented in this book, but I am very interested to find out. I will say it sounds very cute, and I'm excited to see another book that has some girl-loving girl relationships because there's not a ton of those. It just sounds like another really cute summer contemporary that I'm going to be really excited to read later this year. And the final book HMH Teen has sent me for their Summer of Love campaign is Things I Should Have Known by Claire Lizebnik. So Things I Should Have Known follows a girl named Chloe who is on a mission to find love for her autistic sister named Ivy. She discovers a boy named Ethan, who I believe is also autistic, that is in Ivy's class, and she feels like they are the perfect match. Unfortunately, with Ethan comes David, who is Ethan's brother, who is equally as dedicated to Ethan as Chloe is to Ivy. But Chloe and David kind of clash, but they are kind of stuck together as they are trying to set up their two siblings. So this is definitely a book I'm really interested in. I did a little bit of research on the author, and I found out she has an autistic son herself and has done some work with the Autistic Research Center. I believe it's in like the University of California, Santa Barbara, though I'm not entirely sure. So my hope is that the author is very educated on the topic, but I do want to ask here, I'm hoping to educate myself more on autism before going to this book to make sure that when I recommend it to you guys, I'm trying to give you guys the most sensitive interpretation of the representation that I can. But I really just want to expand my knowledge and be more educated. So if you guys have any recommendations for documentaries, preferably with people who do have autism instead of kind of parents whose children have autism, I'm kind of looking for like the individual experience, if that makes sense, or I'll really take anything. But I'm looking for documentaries if you'd like to help me out. Things I Should Have Known comes out March 28th. Definitions of Indefinable Things, as well as But Then I Came Back, both come out on April 4th. And How to Make a Wish comes out May 2nd. So do anticipate some reviews for each of these. I'm very excited to read every single one of those books, as they are books that I think I would pick up on my own. But of course, thank you so much HMH Teen for sending me these books and inviting me to work with you on your campaign. The next two books were sent to me by the lovely Books of Wonder, which, as you guys know, is my favorite bookstore in New York City. I do a little bit of work with them, sometimes on YouTube, mostly on Instagram, talking about signed pre-orders, where you can order a book off of their website and they often have signed copies. So I did help them out with The Last of August, the second book in the Study in Charlotte series by Brittany Calavaro. This series essentially follows a boy named Jamie who goes to a prep school in Connecticut and ends up meeting the great-great-great-great-granddaughter of Sherlock Holmes. Her name is Charlotte, and as one of these students at their school dies, they're kind of drawn together. And as you guys know that I love all things detective-y and investigative-y, I've been dying to read these books for so long. So of course, thank you so much, Books of Wonder, for sending me these books. Both of them are signed by Brittany, which I'm really grateful for. If you're interested in getting your own copy of The Last of August, you can use my code EMBOW10, obviously for Emma Books of Wonder, 10% off. So if you'd like a discounted signed book, I think Books of Wonder is a great place to go. They are also having the same promotion for A Conjuring of Light, which is the third book in the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. I love the first book. I can't wait to finish the rest of them. And that one you can also get a discount using EMBOW10 for A Conjuring of Light or The Last of August. Just to be clear, I don't make money off of the sales. I just kind of help them out because I like to support independent bookstores. I think Books of Wonder is great, and the fact that they offer international shipping for signed books, which a lot of people don't get access to, is just amazing. So I do my best to try and promote them to you guys. So if you're interested in either of those books and having them signed, definitely check the links in the description of this video. So I did buy a few mental health books this month. As you will see in my wrap up, I read a ton of them. The first is It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. I mentioned in my Mental Health Awareness Week videos for my TBR that this was one of them, and I am super excited that I finally have a copy. The reason I bought this book is because in my adolescent psych class, my final term paper is to write a paper on either a movie or a book that deals with a teenage issue, so I decided I wanted to write on depression. As this is an Own Voices novel about a teen suffering from depression in New York City who enters a psych ward and he meets a ton of different people there. I'm really excited to read this book. I know it is super heartwarming and I feel like it's going to be very, very raw. I was so sad to hear about the passing of Ned Vizzini as he committed suicide a few years ago, and I just feel like that fact is gonna hold heavy in my heart as I read this book, but I'm really excited to read it. I know I'm gonna love it, and I can't wait to write a paper on it. Who knew I would be excited to write a term paper? The next book is Under Rose-Tainted Skies by Louise Gournal. This is another Own Voices mental health novel that deals with OCD, anxiety, and agoraphobia, which is a severe and crippling fear of not being able to go outside. It follows a girl named Nora who hasn't really left her house for the most part in about 4 years, and a boy named Luke moves in next door, and Luke kind of wants to get closer and get to know Nora, but she feels that Luke deserves more than a girl who is physically incapable of going outside. I read this book this month. I loved it so much. Please pick up this book. It's amazing. You need it in your life. I talk about it a lot in my wrap up, but like, oh my goodness guys, this book is so good. It's at the very top. Like, it's currently like it's #1 for mental health book recommendations just because it was that amazing, and I'm having my mom read it right now. I need everyone to read this book. Please read it. It's so good. I promise you won't be left out. And the final mental health book that I bought in the month of February was A Tragic Kind of Wonderful by Eric Landstrom. This is about a girl named Mel who suffers from bipolar disorder, and she's kind of kept it a secret from everyone but her family. Mel has been dealing with some friend issues for the past year or so, and they don't know about her diagnosis, and so it really just kind of follows Mel throughout this transition of kind of figuring out and talking with these people about what happened to their friendship while also dealing with her mental health condition. It's another really emotional read. I also read this month and gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I would highly recommend this book. The second half is just like so raw and authentic and uncensored. It's really amazing, and I would definitely recommend it. I would love to see more reviews from people who do have bipolar disorder because it's not something I can directly speak to, but I think the execution went really well, and I really loved this book, so I'd also recommend picking this one up. So I believe I mentioned in my last book haul or wrap up that I recently opened a P.O. box, and I've gotten a few really lovely gifts and letters from you guys, so if you ever just want to send me like a short little note, I will treasure it forever. I have a specific place in my room where I keep everything that I get from you guys. So I would love to have a letter, and if you live in the US and you want me to write back to you, I'll definitely write back to you. But the lovely Sarah from Italy wrote me a very sweet note, but she also sent me a copy of City of Bones in Italian. So this is actually the older edition of the Italian versions of City of Bones, if I'm correct, and she wanted to send me this one because she liked it better than the ones they currently have. But this is honestly like the coolest gift anyone could give me. I think the foreign editions of City of Bones are so cool, and even if I'm not capable of reading them, I'd love to have a collection of them someday. So this marks my 8th edition of City of Bones, and I'm so grateful for it. So thank you so much, Sarah, for sending me this. I really promise you I will treasure it forever. It's so cool. Like, I'm holding something from Italy, and I'm holding something that means so much to me in a different language. It's like the coolest experience. So I bought a highly anticipated February release this month that I had to wait. Like, I told myself I'm not filming my book haul until this book comes in, and that is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. If you haven't heard of this book, where have you been? It is a must read. I feel like any synopsis I could personally give you guys just would not do this book justice, but I'm gonna try my best. Essentially, it follows a 16-year-old black teen named Star who lives in a poor neighborhood, but she goes to a fancy prep school. And at the start of the story, her best friend Khalil has been shot by a police officer while they were unharmed. As many stories in real life have done so recently, this goes viral. It's a national headline, and there's a lot of conflicting opinions on it. And so while the police aren't really interested in investigating further, Star tries to make sense of the situation. Police brutality is a super important and relevant topic at the moment, and I think the fact that this book exists is like so unbelievably amazing. My heart is growing 10 sizes, like, just having this book next to me. I'm really excited to read it. I'm going to be reading it with my best friend Michael Booklion, who is a booktuber you should totally check out. But I'm really excited to read this book, and I know I'm going to love it. So if you're interested in reading more diverse lit and own voices novels, highly recommend The Hate You Give. And so the final 2 books on this book haul are from Fairy Loot and Owl Crate, 2 of the subscription services I'm reps for, and if you're interested in trying out either of them, I will leave links to their websites in the description below. And while I believe only my Owl Crate unboxing is up at the moment, I'll leave that below too, but just Spoiler for those 2 subscription services if you have not opened yours yet. Owl Crate's theme for February was Run Away with the Circus, and their book was Cara Ball by Stephanie Garber. I have 3 editions of this book, so this is my 3rd time talking about it in a book haul, and I'm sure you've heard of it by now, so I don't really know how much I really need to delve into it. It follows our 2 main characters, Scarlett and Tella, as they live in this world where this elaborate performance named Cara Ball is super prestigious, and so the 2 sisters end up getting invited. They go to this crazy performance, and at the start of it, Tella is kidnapped. So Scarlett has to go on this journey to find her sister, even though everyone tells her that it's just part of the show. It sounds fascinating. It's gotten like only rave reviews. It sounds really, really great, and I'm super excited to read it. And then the final book on this haul from Fairy Loot's Emperors and Empires, and I can never remember the Fairy Loot themes, geez. Empires and Mayhem? No, I know I'm totally mixing up 2 different themes here, but the book of the month was Empress of a Thousand Skies by Rhoda Belleza. It's a sci-fi novel following our main character, Princess Ree, who on the night of her coronation is planning to enact on some revenge that she's been harboring for all of her life. We also have Allie, who is like this television star, and one night when there's an attempt made on Ree's life, Allie becomes the main suspect, and so the 2 of these people are essentially forced into hiding together, and even though Allie has not done wrong, people assume him to be the murderer. And I've heard really good reviews of this one as well. There's been a lot of hype around this book, so I'm excited to read it. So that's my February book haul. A lot of books. I'm absolutely drained. I read a lot of these books and they were all fantastic, and I got so many books I am excited to read. Let me know in the comments of this video what were your favorite books that you bought or received or read in the month of February, because I'd love to know. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon for a new video. Bye!